Good morning and good morning to only fans of the 32-4 Cleveland Cavaliers. We are repping the Cavs gear here. On Behind the Glass, Mikey McNuggets, Earl the Pearl, a.k.a. Evan Mobley with dreads, Anthony Antonelli, a.k.a. Ty Jerome with the worst jump shot. We are here to break down what we saw yesterday in a epic clash of the Titans in the NBA. We hyped up this game, rightfully so, because it was between the best team in the East versus the best team in the West. The undisputed two best teams in basketball thus far in the regular season. And Earl, it lived up to all the expectations, all the hype. We got delivered an instant classic, and at the end of the day, the Cleveland Cavaliers came out on top. And before I toss it to you, I just want to let everybody know that when Kenny Atkinson came into the post-game press conference room yesterday, and Earl was there, he could attest, before he was even asked a question, Kenny sat down and said, "Holy crap, what a basketball game. That is what the NBA is supposed to be about." And the reason I'm going on a diatribe to start, because if you're one of those low-life people, one of those shady rocks, that's like, it's the regular season. Turn this show off. We don't want your views. Go enjoy a postseason show in 4 months, because I have nothing to say to you. That was a hell of a basketball game last night, Earl, and a hell of a win.
Man, that atmosphere, it was like a playoff atmosphere from jump. The crowd was amazing. The game itself was amazing. The Cavs got down early. I thought the Cavs played better defense than the best defensive team in the NBA. Even when the calls wasn't going our way, you seen the Cavs kind of get gritty. When you get 7 guys that can score in double figures and you're able to beat one of the elite teams in the NBA, and your best player shoots 3 of 16, that says a lot about the growth and maturity of your basketball team. It says a lot about the character of your basketball team. This is a squad that believes in itself and believes in one another. And when somebody else don't got it, somebody else can pick up the slack. And I thought yesterday it was Max Strus, right? Like you alluded to, we talked about it earlier upstairs in the office. You know, we were struggling to hit shots early, and we had some careless turnovers early. And Strus came in and he hit some big three-pointers, early on to close out that quarter. And we go into the first quarter -7, where we could have been -10. And you look at how that played an impact towards the end of the game. You look at the adjustments made after the first quarter to what they were doing defensively and how we were able to attack that. You look at the fourth quarter in particular, and you pointed out to Kenny in the post game how he switched to his own defense. I think we held him to 26 points or something like that.
20 points in the
20
fourth
points
quarter.
in the fourth
Yeah,
quarter.
locked him down, 20 points.
And so when you play a complete game like that and it's not the best that you're capable of playing against a team like that, those are one of those measuring stick games, one of those games to where you're put to the test to see where you are, see what adjustments that you need to make, etc. This team is primed for whatever it is that they want to do.
And you were not at the game last night. You were watching on TV. What was the because we don't hear the broadcast when we're at the game. What was the broadcast saying about the game, and did it feel like a gigantic matchup from the broadcast standpoint as opposed to being in the arena for the atmosphere of the crowd?
So a lot of people are going to hate me for this. I turn the volume down. I don't really tune into broadcasts on football or basketball, especially soccer.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
There's
it's just
nothing
not
wrong
really
with
my thing.
Yeah.
I keep it just enough so I can hear the crowd noise, and then I'll usually throw on music or a podcast and maybe an audiobook. But I don't know what the broadcast was saying. Watching it at home, I felt just as much energy, I feel like, as I would be there, though. It was one of those ones where I was sitting alone in my apartment, yelling at the top of my lungs. I was getting mad at Mitchell for not shooting well. I was getting hyped when Mobley dunked. It was a good time. It felt like watching those playoff games back when LeBron was here for those 4 years. I was just locked in the entire time. I don't think I took my eyes off the game until halftime.
It wasn't there was never a point where the game was out of the loop. I don't think it ever got to a double-digit lead either way.
Either
I think
way.
the biggest lead
was like 9.
8 or 9 for the Cavs at one point, and then the Thunder. But it's a couple things we want to talk about. Do we want to start with Donovan Mitchell? Do we want to start with the bigs, or do we want to start with just big picture takeaways? And you get to decide.
You get to decide.
Yeah.
You
Producer
pick.
Ant, where are we starting? Mitchell, the bigs, or the big picture?
Let's go big picture.
All right, big picture. In the first quarter, Oklahoma City brought the physicality to Cleveland, and I did not think Cleveland did a good job responding to said physicality early. I felt like the Cavs took more mid-range jump shots in the first quarter last night against OKC than they do an entire game on average. Mm-hmm. And that was a credit to OKC forcing them into some uncomfortable offensive situations. And we'll talk about Donovan's struggles, and I thought he made more often than not the right reads. And just like that game against Boston earlier where Darius missed a ton of shots, You're going to miss shots. It is what it is.
It happens.
The big picture takeaway is, for me, A, Cavs defense got stops when it needed. B, they put up 129 points on the number one defense in basketball, despite Donovan having a good game. And C, they forced Oklahoma City to pick its poison. And this is the big thing, and this is going to come back to all the other struggles. Against this Cavs team, especially if they're playing both bigs, you have to decide, because they're both really good advanced passers from the short roll. Are we going to crowd the lane on these pick and roll switches, or not switches, but these pick and roll coverages, and leave guys open on the perimeter to shoot threes, which they're shooting 40% on the season, best in the league? Or are we going to force their bigs to make these split-second decisions in the short roll and allow them to be the ones to beat us? Last night, OKC said, we're going to put the ball in Jarrett and Evan's hands and force them to make split-second decisions against our long, athletic defense and see what they can do. And do you know what happened? They carved them up like a Thanksgiving turkey. The two bigs combined had 13 assists. 13 assists! And down the stretch, it wasn't the last possession, which we'll talk about Evan Mobley scoring that bucket in a sec. But down the stretch, they started just getting the screens higher and higher and higher up the floor, which forced Oklahoma City's defense to take 2, 3, 4 extra steps up off their line, which gave Evan Mobley and/or Jarrett Allen, whoever was in that baseline cutter spot, even more space to operate. The chemistry, the passing, we all said all summer, the two bigs together, I don't know if it works in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. And we still have to see it in the playoffs. But Kenny Atkinson has turned what we thought was a Cavs weakness into a strength. And they may not have big wings, but they have two bigs that can pass the ball and defend just about anybody. And that's just as advantageous come playoff time as having some supersized wings are.
I think for me, the big picture takeaway for me was this team's resilience and Kenny Atkinson consistently being able to adjust to whatever adjustments being made. The Cavs are not hunting, they're the hunted. And when you're going up against another elite team like OKC, who's sound defensively, it takes a lot, to get going offensively, right? They create turnovers. Kenny said it. They have the ability to turn you over. And when you're not hitting shots like that and you find the other little things to do to keep yourself in a ball game until it comes around, it says a lot about your team. And when you can get 7 guys, seven guys,
not one, not two, not three, not four,
not five,
not six, 7. That was good. We didn't even practice that. That was good.
7 dudes to score in double figures like that, it just says a lot. And, for us to struggle with their physicality, for us to turn the ball over carelessly and to struggle to hit shots and then make the proper adjustments and be right there, it was cool to see. It was fun to see the Cavs actually play in a competitive game to where it wasn't a blowout. So,
and what's your big picture? You leave with one thing from last night. What is it?
I think for me personally, the cloud of LeBron is finally gone. We can
thing.
play when our star is not having a great night, and we can still win. And I think it adds on to the 7 guys and 7 digits. If LeBron ever shot 3 for 16, we wouldn't even sniff a lead. That was just how the Cavs
against an
were.
elite team too.
Against the Warriors, LeBron had to play his best game every game if we wanted a chance. And I mean, everybody did, but if LeBron went out and subbed out, it was it. They were taking Mitchell out last night, and we were going up by 6, 7 points. It was great to see, and it was nice to know that Mitchell's a great leader, but we can operate without him being in that role. And that was the first time I saw it, and it was great to see.
Yeah, Donovan's taken a step back in terms of his scoring this year. He's letting other guys kind of be the guy at different times. And last night, I think, was the result of what we've seen through the first 35 games of the season. I'm not sure Evan, if he's not put in those situations earlier this year, is capable of going one-on-one with Isaiah Hartenstein late in the game. And I know Kenny told us afterwards they were trying to get the switch on SGA, who had 5 fouls. The Thunder didn't switch. I don't know if I love that matchup, Mobley versus Hartenstein on paper, but Mobley took it right to his chest and scored with the right hand. Last year he's taking a fadeaway. Or last year he's pivoting and getting knocked off balance. That's the kind of growth from Evan Mobley we've seen this year that doesn't necessarily show up in a box score. Because 2 points is 2 points in a box score. How you score is what you can tell in growth. I'm not sure Jarrett Allen is comfortable in that situation if he doesn't get those opportunities from Donovan saying, take a step back. Darius is shooting 74% in the clutch this season. That's 21% higher than anyone else in basketball. Anyone that has taken at least 20 shots, there's someone's one-on-one, but whatever, of the real clutch time performers, shooting 74%. Donovan taking a step back and letting other guys kind of rise to the moment. And even in his postgame, Earl, I know you were talking to Jarrett and Evan last night when I was in the locker room. He was saying, get Darius to San Francisco, get Jarrett to San Francisco, get Evan to San Francisco. They're so bought in. And although Donovan struggled last night, 3 of 16, whatever, he didn't shoot well. What are we going to say? He didn't shoot well. By doing and allowing those guys to step up earlier in the season, they were ready for the moment last night. In a way, I don't think they would have been last year or the year before.
Well, I think he does a great job of building up their confidence. Donovan knows damn well he's going to need these dudes to, be elite come playoff time if they want to accomplish their overall goal. But, I think when you help build somebody's confidence and it starts to click for that person mentally, like that build up, you start to see it flourish. Yesterday in that post-game conference, I can't remember who asked him the question, but they asked Evan Mobley, Evan, do you feel like you're a star? And he said, yes, absolutely. He talked about all the work he had been putting in over the last couple seasons on his offensive game and just seeing all that hard work pay off. And I told you earlier today, it wasn't really what he said. I was looking dead at him when he said it, and it was just the body language and how he said it. He was serious. And if Evan Mobley mentally knows he's a star and we see the game developing, it's scary hours for the rest of the NBA. Last night was his 15th double-double of the season, right? And then you talk about Jarrett Allen. I told you, to me, when J.A. assert himself as a dominant force, this team is unbeatable. Yesterday, 21st double-double, leading the team. I found the stat earlier today. Over the last 2 years, the Cavs are 21-5 when he goes over 20 points and over 10 rebounds. So, hey, feed the fro. That's the key. It ain't Dean Wade. It's feed the fro. If you feed the fro, we won't lose. That's just how it goes.
So I actually don't think you ever should free Jarrett Allen. Jarrett Allen is – what makes Jarrett Allen so good is you don't have to give him the rock for him to score. He's just going to kind of find the right situations. And when teams say, we're going to take everyone else away and make your fourth option beat you, there's not a better fourth option.
Ain't no better fourth option than that.
Okay, maybe Boston if you want to say Derek White. But, like, he's in that top elite tier of fourth options, and that's what makes this Cavs team so good. And I want to ask you this because, well, I know you didn't listen to the broadcast, but as we're talking, last night, maybe a preview of the NBA Finals, right? Like, OKC was legit. That's a very, very, very good basketball team. We've also talked about the fact that they were missing Chet Holmgren and Alex Caruso, and they have 12 first-round picks over the next 6-7 years. They are not going anywhere, and Cleveland is not going anywhere. And I'm curious from your guys' perspective when the Cleveland-Golden State rivalry first started coming to fruition, right? Golden State was having success. LeBron comes back. Those first battles. And I'll start with you. Did last night feel like it could have been the first battle in what is going to become a 4 or 5 year rivalry between these two teams that are set up for incredible success because of the age of the team, the contractual sheets and the situation, the fact they have money, and just the fact these are the two best teams in basketball, right? Did you get the sense that this could be the start of something that is a 4 or 5 year rivalry?
It absolutely could. I'm going to wait until next week. I want to see how OKC bounces back, and I really want to see how both these teams do in the playoffs. I know the regular season matters, but it is a whole different game up there.
Yeah.
And I also want to see OKC at full strength take us on full strength. Because Hartenstein didn't do much to our bigs last night like he did in New York when we played them in the playoffs, but he also didn't have the backup that he had in New York. So when he has that backup back in Holmgren, I'm interested to see how that matchup goes.
Or what do you think? Could this be the first of a 4 or 5 year rivalry here?
I think it is the first of a 4 or 5 year rivalry. I think when you look at the components with both teams, I just think that it's building itself up to be that. You have two teams that when it comes to market size rank between 18 and 25.
Something like that, yeah.
Right? So, like, you consider that you have star players and both teams are very deep. They got depth,
and
right?
Young.
And they're young.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to draft capital, they're in a little better situation than we are. But you just look at how hard both teams play. You look at both teams having role players that, play a significant role and can contribute on those different levels. I think it's the start of something special. To Ant's point, man, when you don't have Caruso healthy and when you don't have Chet healthy, it is hard to, get a true glimpse of where we match up against this team. And I think it'd be interesting because you got to understand, Isaac Okoro played last night, but that was Isaac's first game back after missing 2 or 3
Played
weeks.
well, too.
And he played very well. And so, the Cavs are finally, at my opinion, what I believe to be full strength. And as they continue to gel, like Max Strus again, he's finally getting his legs up under him, right? And so when Isaac get himself back going and back in the fold, it'd be interesting to see what we look like at full strength, when we face up against a Boston at full strength or an OKC at full strength. Because just like we might not have played these teams at their full strength, they haven't played us at full strength either. And I think that the biggest caveat is, this might sound crazy because it's only a week away, Evan Mobley might be better next week than he was today.
I think that's crazy. That's fact.
So,
Because every time he touches the ball, he gets better.
Yeah, and I got a chance to talk to Donovan for a little bit after we wrapped up with media things, and the first thing he said to me was about Evan Mobley, how Evan just asserted themselves, and he talked about being appreciative of how this group allows him to be their leader. And when you're that selfless of a leader like that, when your shot is not falling like that, and you ain't even worried about your shot, and you try to get everybody else involved, to your point, the shot wasn't falling, but I thought he did everything else right. Yeah. I really did. I thought he played sound defensively. I thought he made the right reads. As I'm watching more and more in person, I had no idea. I knew he was a good passer, but the way Donovan passes the ball is it's on a whole nother level. And it's exciting, man. It's fun times in Cleveland. It's fun to be a Cavs fan and man, we about to turn this city up.
When we were talking about the rivalry, it just hit me too. What are the odds that Cleveland hits its second championship window and there's another historical Western Conference team that we're going to have to face off against?
Yeah, but that's kind of why I do believe, and we only got a few minutes left, so I'll make this quick. We can't predict 5 years in the future. Mm-hmm. There are not two better teams set up for success with the new cap structure, the first apron, the second apron, the restrictions, than OKC and Cleveland. Mm-hmm. All their stars on both teams under the age of 26. I think Donovan's 26, right? Maybe
28.
Well, Donovan, he's young enough that he's not.
I get what you said.
Darius, Evan, SGA, Jalen Williams, Chet, those guys are all young. They will all be re-signed on the Cavs side already. Mm-hmm. OKC has cleared their books. They've already said we're going to re-sign Jalen and Chet to the max. So you have your stars locked in. None of them seem to be divas in the way that I need to play in an LA or a New York. They feel pretty content playing where they're at. We talked about OKC's draft capital. Kobe Altman, we crushed him last year. Hey, I got nothing to say to Kobe right now. He has completely nailed everything he's done putting this roster together. And their cap sheet is not destructive as it moves forward.
Right.
They got in at the right time on a lot of these guys. So as the salary cap goes up and the contracts go up, the percentage are the same, so they still have some flexibility. To have a rivalry, you need staying power, you need star power, and you two teams that when they play, it matters. Last night's game mattered. Next week when they have the rematch in OKC, just how Cleveland was buzzing, OKC is going to be buzzing. SGA, Chet, Jalen versus Darius, Evan, Donovan, and Jarrett, you got your star power and your staying power. I don't see these teams going anywhere. If anything, they're just going to get better and better as Evan gets better and as OKC continues to turn 12 first-round draft picks into whatever superstar that gets upset and wants to get out.
Jimmy Buckets?
Legitimately, I'm terrified that Giannis is going to be the guy.
Don't say that. Lord.
That is legitimately the worst-case scenario is Giannis wants out.
KD goes to the Warriors. Giannis goes to the Thunder.
Yeah, it would.
Maybe we can get Sabonis then from Sacramento. They ain't finna do nothing.
Is Sacramento going to blow it up now that they fired Mike Brown?
They've won 6 in a row now, so who knows?
Hey, Mike Brown and De'Aaron Fox was at dinner last night together.
Yeah, they don't have beef. It just sometimes you gotta move. Sometimes the Pistons have won 6 in a row. They have more wins this year than they did last. Sometimes it's just the coach runs his course with the team, and it is what it is. All right, final thoughts because we got to run. The Cavs, we'll go around the horn. The Cavs are legit. I asked Donovan Mitchell after the game yesterday. That stage, that opponent, that result. What do you want the narrative to be about the Cavs moving forward after that performance on national TV? And his answer was, still have a lot of ways to go. It is January. But if you haven't bought in and you're not a believer in what we're doing now, there is nothing we can do that's going to change your mind. And that's how I feel. If you don't believe in this Cavs team at this point, then there is nothing you can see that's going to change your mind. And that is a miserable way to live your life. Where's the fun in that? Because what's the point of 82 games, which I agree is too long, but what's the point of having a regular season if you're just going to poo-poo everything? This Cavs team is fun. They are legit. And enjoy it, because 32-4 doesn't happen very often. Enjoy it. Cherish the moment. Let's celebrate the best team in Cleveland.
You know, for me, when I look at it, the Cavs snapped the Oklahoma City Thunder's 15-game winning streak on national TV while increasing their winning streak to 11. And I've often called this team a balanced attack of mass destruction. And we know, like, Donovan Mitchell is a baller. We know Darius Garland is a baller. But I think what we are finding out is we got two bigs that are true weapons of mass destruction in their own right. In their 11-game winning streak, Jarrett Allen is averaging 15 points and 9 rebounds, while Evan Mobley is averaging 19 points and 7 rebounds. Mike just alluded to last night, they combined for 13 assists. You have your bigs that are physical, that are turning into playmakers. And it's just something else that the Cavs got in their back pocket, to where if one of those ball-handling, scoring guards ain't got it, you can turn to one of the big men. The Cavs are for real. The Cavs are dangerous, and it's time that the entire league take notice. And if you want to keep sleeping on us, go ahead. We just going to keep stumping on every single opponent we play.
And final thoughts.
This one's to the Cavs fans like me. That 4-year run with LeBron took years off my life. Let's start preparing for what we're about to go through in these playoff series, because it's going to be fun, it's going to be stressful. But I mean, I have not been this locked into the NBA probably since 2017. I'm already super excited, totally bought into the team. Everybody got to get on this bandwagon, and the bandwagon is more than open.
That's going to wrap it up for Behind the Glass. If you want more Cavs talk, I'm doing an Ultimate Cavs show at 5 o'clock today. So I don't know what time this is airing, but at 5 o'clock I'll be back on the YouTube channel with an Ultimate Cavs show, so make sure to tune into that. We'll be breaking down the game, some big picture thoughts, and what the Cavs have to do to keep this thing rolling tonight against Toronto. For Earl the Pearl, for Anthony Antonelli, I'm Mikey McNuggets, and this has been an episode of Behind the Glass, sponsored by the 32-4 Cleveland Cavaliers. Let them know. Peace.